these are the phases of a bubble right here, and it's insane how similar to Bitcoin's rally this looks. What is going on, crypto peeps? Welcome back to the Traveling Crypto. For those of you that are in the US, I hope you had a great holiday weekend. I'm now back at my desk in my office. I know I definitely had a great holiday weekend, eating more than I probably should have, which is why I'm wearing this cozy hoodie. These have just been restocked. You can get them on my site, thetravelingcrypto.com/merchandise, where you can also check out my portfolio. But here's the hoodie that I'm wearing right here. It comes in an array of different colors. Anyway, let us get right to the market. So current market cap sits at 122 bill. We did have a few cryptos that have increased in Bitcoin's price. One of the most surprising ones is Bitcoin Cash SV, which is up a ridiculous 113% over the last week. I don't know that too many traders are putting all their faith that this is an actual rally versus something more nefarious, like an organized pump or maybe a mixture of both, especially with the controversy surrounding the Bitcoin Cash ABC versus SV forks. Either way, it is data, and it's interesting to note that Bitcoin SV is now in the top 10, along with Bitcoin Cash still being in the top 4. Even though we're in a market crash, we did send out a couple of really successful trade alerts, trading XRP a few times, as well as QKC being the latest one. We did send out multiple trade alerts for QKC. I'll go over that just now, but there was a breakout from this descending wedge, a breakout from this reverse head and shoulders, a breakout above this key resistance level here at 1100 sats. So we sent out multiple trade alerts for QKC, made almost 33% over the last couple days. QKC has hit our long-term goal. Again, this is just a testament that market timing, nobody can time the market. You just have to get in during optimal positions and optimal trades and let the market timing work itself out. The 33% was my long-term goal for QKC. Long-term, obviously being more of a vague statement, but I was expecting weeks to months before it hit our target, and it hit it within 3 days. If you want access to the trade alerts, link is in the description. We have also added a section for futures, trading on BitMEX, so longs and shorts, etc. That is also in the trade alerts. Let us take a look at Bitcoin right now. So there's a very interesting setup on Bitcoin here. This is the 4-hour chart for Bitcoin. Now, what is so interesting about this is actually a rarity, right? We are seeing a consistent divergence that's been going on for 2 weeks now. And we've seen divergences in the past, but what's strange about this one is, you'll see Bitcoin consistently establish lower lows, while the RSI is consistently establishing higher lows for those same exact points. Now you'll see Bitcoin forming sort of a stairs formation here, right? Like these look like downward steps. You have a sharp drop followed by a sideways consolidation, sharp drop, sideways consolidation, etc., etc. This is actually called a parabolic curve, even though it looks like steps. I want to coin the term steps. I don't think that's a technical term. The technical term is a parabolic curve, and you can actually draw it out using the curve tool in TradingView. But you'll see why it is called a parabolic curve is because it's not a straight trend line. This is on the 4-hour chart. The 1-day chart obviously says something different, and I will go over that in a second. But here is the parabolic curve. This is the direction that Bitcoin is heading in. Now, what's interesting is these divergences that are popping up. Divergences are not uncommon during strong trends, whether it's a strong uptrend or strong downtrend, but it's just the fact that how this is surfacing itself in that step formation that I just talked about. So what I expect to see from here, at least based on the 4-hour chart, is an upward movement to a resistance point. I'm going to say at around 4K maybe, because this is where the previous swing high resistance was. But I don't have any faith in a real bullish rally just yet. This rectangular shape right here is where our support is, currently between 3,600 and 3,650, around there. That is where the support zone is. And you'll see that we've been consistently below the mean on the Bollinger Band. So that's why I think we might see a short rally up to about almost 4K before coming back down. And you can play this rally in BitMEX, right? With leverage or Bitfinex, whatever leveraged exchange you use, you can play this swing right here between where we currently are at 3,700 and 4,000. I will be sending out those future alerts in the trade signals on the Discord, so look out for that. Looking at Bitcoin we'll look at the 1 month in a second, but looking at it on the 1 day, this is what I was saying, is the trend line looks completely different. So on the 4 hour, you do have this parabolic curve. On the 1 day, you'll see the straight shot down, right? This is a straight trend line down from that resistance the support that we broke of the descending triangle at 5,800 all the way down to where we are currently. And we are seeing these all-time low RSI levels going down to the single digits 1 day at around 9 on the RSI, or 9 and change on the RSI, which is crazy. So even though if we look at the chart, going from the January highs to now, it looks unprecedented. If you look at something called an anatomy of a bubble, and I have this right here. So these are the phases of a bubble right here. And it's insane how similar to Bitcoin's rally this looks. Here's Bitcoin's rally. Here's, mid 2017. This is where we got to the all-time high, and now we are currently dropping, regressing back to the mean. If you look at the phases of a bubble, you'll see the same exact thing, right? Here's what they call the stealth phase. This is where the smart money comes in, or people that were, aware of Bitcoin's potential value. This is where the institutional investors come in. And even though we talk about institutional investors all the time in Bitcoin as if it's this, fantastical entity that is going to come in and save us from all this mayhem, institutional investors have actually been in Bitcoin forever. That's why you see these large transactions in Bitcoin wallets. You'll see hundreds or thousands of BTC being traded. Those are institutional investors. And then here is where the public starts getting aware of Bitcoin, right? This is called the mania phase. This is where, it's in the news. Your parents and your grandparents are talking about it over Thanksgiving dinner, not this Thanksgiving, but last year, right? And this is where most of the, I don't want to say dumb money, but I guess most of the inexperienced FOMO traders jump on board, and we've hit a new paradigm, which you could see here. This is almost exactly the same. Actually, if you put them up close to each other, this is almost the same exact chart as Bitcoin, even down to this drop that we see here, this denial drop that we see here in between January and February. You'll see that mimicked here by this drop, and then a return to normal, right? Which everybody thought, oh, okay, yeah, this is just a blip. We're going to maintain these all-time high prices, and then the drop from there. And then obviously you have fear, capitulation, despair, which we are currently in, right? You see a lot of people exiting the market or saying that they're wrecked and they want nothing to do with investing, people panic selling. And then we'll eventually get a return to the mean, and the mean being, the average price that we traded at before this bubble, right? This bull run. And I want to also clear one thing up. When we talk about bubbles, it seems to have a negative connotation as if it's related to a speculative asset that has no business being at those prices, and that once it bursts forever. No, every market, even legitimate markets, every single market has bubble phases, whether we're talking about the housing market or gold or stocks. It doesn't mean that you're dealing with an asset that is precarious and, is going to disappear for eternity once the bubble pops. Bubble just refers to the phase that the market is currently in, which is what we see now. Now, over the long term, and I'll pull up the monthly chart, you'll see that these bubbles happen. And if you look at something like the stock market, going all the way back to the 20s, you'll see that these bubbles are things that happen naturally as part of the typical market cycle. We saw this one here in Bitcoin back in 2014, and now we're seeing one now back in, starting in 2017, and the bubble popping this year in 2018. Now, I've said this before, this bear market, according to the monthly chart, lasted almost 670 days. And if we extend that out to this market, then that takes us out to October of next year before we might see some relief. Now, here's a few things to consider. We might not get to October before we see another rally because of some fundamental sea change events that are hitting the Bitcoin market, BAKKT being one of them, a physically backed ETF being another one. These are things that can cause a reversal in the market. Now, what I will say is for crypto in general, not Bitcoin, but for crypto in general, we do need to see an adoption phase of some of these cryptos, right? I think that there has to be a shakeout phase where traders and investors realize that a lot of these cryptos are worthless and that we need to start seeing adoption for any of these values to truly hold. So prices can move based on speculation, but in order for them to hold and to maintain value, we eventually need to see adoption by some of these cryptos, because at the end of the day, that is what these cryptos are about, right? According to their roadmaps and their white papers, they all are supposed to have some sort of practical use or real life use case, or else what the hell are they there for? And that might come as a consequence of this bear market, and it might not. I mean, we could continue to see the speculation as part of the next reversal, and then we will see another bubble pop where that shakeout has to happen, or the shakeout might happen at least to a certain degree during this bear market itself. So what I have here on the 1 month is saying that, if the bear market does extend to the same period that it has last time, this could carry out till October, and we could potentially see a sub 3,000 Bitcoin. Now that when I actually drew this, we were on top of this blue line here, so we were still over $6,000 for Bitcoin. This sharp drop that we see during this month has definitely been unexpected, and like I said, you cannot predict market timing or extent. Nobody can tell you what the price of a certain asset will be on what date. So the sub 3,000 Bitcoin can actually come a lot sooner than October 2019. Anyway, that is it for this video. Again, if you want access to the trade alerts as well as the BitMEX futures alerts, link is in the description. Sign up for that. If you need help with your technical analysis or need any one-on-one coaching, that is also in the same link in the description. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you got anything out of this video, leave a thumbs up. It goes a long way. If you have a question, leave it in the comments or hit me up on the Discord. Stay safe out there, people. Peace.